Hey guys, it's Tiffany, and you found me on the Tarot for Tarot Friday on the Wise Guys channel, and I'm giving you the Tarot and Astrology report for December 2nd, 2022. And so as we move into December, right? December is a 9-month in numerology. It's about integration and completion and wrapping things up. And a lot of times we want to just start the new year on January 1st. But I want to just introduce the idea to you that the sun is not going to move into, or gate 41 will move into the sun area on January 22nd. So that in human design is the Rave New Year. And so you might see some of our posts where it's like Happy New Year really doesn't start until later in January, right? So as we move into December, you can give yourself a little bit more breathing room than December 31st to wrap it all up. So, again, it's a 9-month. It's about tying things up, a sense of integration and completion, and things kind of start to click. They all make sense. There's a lot of changes that resonates with me personally. We have updated the website. It just feels like the most comprehensive wrapping up integration type of a feeling with this business, with also Spellbound Publishers. There's that sense of it's all coming together, right? But I do want you to be a little bit cautious this weekend. This is a better weekend for naps than it is like Taskmaster, get things done around the house, like not really. So December, as we start, Mars is still retrograde in Gemini, of course. There's a workshop from Celeste for sale in our shop about Mars retrograde in Gemini, or about Mars and Gemini. Excuse me, it's a longer cycle, but it's retrograde as we start December and will be all December long. So there's a lot of this or that, or back and forth, or you buy something and then you get it and it's like, wait a minute, I thought it was this. And then it's like, oh, it's fine, but no, it's not, but oh, it's fine, and it's this kind of back and forth indecisive energy. Unfortunately, right, I had shared with you guys some of my predictions about injuries to hands, shoulders, lungs, respiratory systems, because Mars is about that aggressive, directed, pointed energy, that slicing, right, energy, very knife-like energy. And so we were kind of expecting to see some respiratory kick-ups or flare-ups come back into play in December, but we were also expecting some other things having to do with hands. Gemini also rules schools. There's lots of things where this could have gone terribly wrong. I got four texts last week about people that had sliced their hand open, sliced a finger, like it was so weird. And yes, it was Thanksgiving, but these were non-Thanksgiving related cuts, like non-cooking cuts. And I'm not saying that we're all under this doom of the sky, but if you are aware of it, it helps you to be a little bit more careful, right? If you're a musician, you really need your hands. So I don't, or anybody, of course, but it's just like the idea that the thing that you're using for your livelihood or your craft, right, could be under some kind of difficult influence. It's nice to be aware of that so that you can take the extra safety precautions around it. And so when I'm going into this weekend being like, I'll just take a nap, Neptune's going to go direct in Pisces. Let's see, Mercury, let me just look at my notes, is going to be squaring Neptune. Venus is going to be squaring Neptune. So on Venus opposes Mars on the 1st, Mercury squares Neptune on the 2nd, Venus squares Neptune on the 4th. This can be things like sugar overload, getting into kind of a pre-diabetes type of a feeling. It can be spending like remorse, buyer's remorse, where maybe you bought too much on a Black Friday sale, or you like went crazy spending something for the holidays. It's that feeling of like, whoops, I went a little too far, right? Whoops, I went a little too far. So just be aware and try to not go a little too far. Neptune dissolves. And so it's important to dissolve things. It's important to let some things go. But when it's in that square position, it can also be things that feel very elusive, that feel like it's being taken away instead of an intentional let go. So being aware of that, you can take really good care of your own, family, home, mental health. These Neptune squares often remind me of things like drug overdoses, being lost in music and forgetting your timeline, like just being kind of lost and floating around in space and forgetting that like moment of like your why and your drive and your plans. It's not that it always has to be about your why and your drive and your plans, but it's almost that experience of having an appointment, right, at noon that you've been waiting for all these months. And then here comes your noon appointment. And you like were off watching a show somewhere and just got like away from it. Like time got away from you. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of astrological musings for you. I promise I am having a coffee this morning. I hope this has been a little bit useful for you, but let's go ahead and look into the tarot for the weekend ahead. And I'm going to start, let's see, which deck am I going to use? Let's use since it's December and we only get to use it this time of year, let's use the Christmas tarot. And let's take a look at all of our Aries. So let's just clear the deck for Aries. And ask Spirit to join us, taking a deep breath in if you're receiving, and then exhale out. Okay, just bringing in Spirit into our day here and asking what it is that our Aries friends need to hear or know the most. King of Pentacles and Wheel of Fortune. Okay, so that's kind of what I was talking about with like that, like big expenses that may or may not work out, that leave you feeling like, oh my God, what have I done here? Like, whoa. So you could be, Aries, getting out of your comfort zone, and it could be like exciting, right? Jupiter moving into Aries later this month into your sign, Chiron in Aries in your sign. You could be going through this, like, I want to get out of my comfort zone. I want to experience more. And there could be a feeling of shock to your system. That feeling of shock doesn't necessarily mean that you did something wrong, right? It's to be aware of and to nurture yourself through. So this is about taking a chance, taking a risk about something financially. So just go slow, be aware of the risk and all the feelings involved, and just keep trying to ask questions from different angles, even things that feel really sure and obvious. Keep asking those questions because Mars retrograde in Gemini, right? Okay, let's check out what our Taurus reading is. What do our Taurus friends need to hear for the weekend ahead? Some practical advice or guidance for our Taurus watching. Okay, we get a Two of Wands reversed and a Nine of Wands. All right, so the Two of Wands reversed, to me, it's like that decision that was made for you. Like you wanted to make the decision, but it's almost like it's now it's out of your hands and it's being made for you. And that can be comfortable, but it can also be really relieving. So just know that something like that might be happening in your world. The Nine of Wands, right? This is when we're at the extreme edge of our energy burnout. Like we're about to be completely burned out to the point where it's that decision that's made for us. Like sometimes you can run up against a health problem. Sometimes you can run up against all kinds of breaks to help you rest and to help you rest into lean back and to accept help from spirit, friends, family, network, whatever. But just be aware of some potential burnout and some decisions that might be made for you. And so it's not to try to avoid that, but it's to bring awareness and intention and being intentional, right, with your decisions and being intentional with your energy so that you don't just completely wipe yourself out this early in December, right? That 9 numerology might give you that extra idea that like, oh, you could do more, you could do more. But what if you didn't? You know, what if this was a month of trying to do less, you know, in some ways? Okay, let's clear the deck for our Geminis. What is it that our Geminis need to hear? Some practical advice or guidance for the weekend ahead. Just taking a deep breath in. We've got the Six of Cups and the Four of Cups reversed. Okay, so Gemini, this is, you could be reminiscing. I would just say with this combo, don't stay stuck in the past. You know, it's okay to like look back in the past for clues or ideas or happy memories, you know, things that you want to relive, but don't stay stuck in a past that is creating these like, you know, grooves in your central nervous system that have you reliving and reliving and reliving something. And so this could be a bit of a pattern breaker for you, a moment to have a pattern breaking, you know, aha idea, something that really shifts an old pattern, something, you know, turn the music on, get up, walk around, take a breath, but don't get stuck in old patterns from the past. That should be very helpful for some of the Geminis that I know that I read for. Okay, let's clear the deck for our Cancers. What is it that our Cancers need to hear for the weekend ahead? Some practical advice or guidance. All right, we've got an Ace of Wands, an Eight of Swords. Okay, you could be going forward, but you're holding yourself back. You know what I mean? This Ace of Wands, it's like, gosh, you've been ready to go. You've been wanting to do this new thing. It's been like surging up in you and you're just about to do it. But then something inside you subconsciously holds yourself back. And so this energy, this mind-body energy that's wanting to go forward, but this subconscious one is holding you back. I just had an experience like this in yoga the other day. It's like, I'm twisting and, you want the mind body wants to twist, but the inside one is not. That it's that one that's holding me back, protecting from injury, protecting from harm, things like this. So is it possible, Cancer, that you're trying to protect yourself from injury or harm, but there's no injury or harm and you're just kind of reliving this thing that isn't even really there? So can you go forward, all of you, mind, body, spirit, 100% of you, forward into this new idea that you've been wanting to do? Interesting. Okay, let's clear the deck for our Leos. What is it that our Leos need to hear for the weekend ahead? Some practical advice or guidance. We've got a moon reverse and a Queen of Pentacles. Okay, so Leos, it's like there's a little bit more to the story when the moon card comes out. It feels like there's something that is unknown, that's unclear, that we don't have the full information on. And so I feel like this is going back to the early November eclipse and the late October eclipse, where there's just something that is stirring, but it's not been made known to you yet. So looking back, you will be able to look back into late October, early November at some point soon here and say, oh, this is starting to make sense. This is starting to unfold itself for me. But there's just a little bit more that we can't know that. So it's when we get the moon card, it's like relax into the uncertainty of it all. It will be shown to you in proper timing. There's a cycle. There's some more information that's coming forward. More life has to be lived before the information can be revealed to you. That said, what you can focus on is your own empire, the Queen of Pentacles, building your own house. And so it could be, if you're in other people's business, this could be a reminder to like come back to your own house, your own yoga mat, right? And make sure that it's all perfect and set up great and exactly how you want it. And don't worry about what's not going well or what other people aren't doing well. Just make it so that your house is in order, whether that's your finances, your relationships, your sense of purpose and career, your alignment with yourself, right? It's like, just focus on that for now. And that focus inside will help strengthen you, and everything outside will come back and be shown to you in just divine right timing. You know what I mean? So alignment with the self will eventually create alignment with what you want in the outside world. Okay, let's clear now for our Libras. Let's see what our Libras need to keep. Nope, just kidding. 5, 6. Did we miss Virgos? Let's do Virgos. Let's clear for Virgos. Sorry, guys. Let's clear for Virgos. What is it that our Virgos need to hear? Just clearing for Virgos to be extra clear. Okay, so for our Virgos, we've got a King of Swords and a Six of Wands. So any Virgos watching that are feeling a sense of pressure, a sense of urgency, a sense of trying to follow in somebody's footsteps, just know this: you might be carving a new path for yourself. You don't have to follow the exact footsteps of the career plan or the family plan or the thing that you thought you were going to do. You might be getting outside of what you thought you were supposed to do. There might be a whole new template just for what you're wanting to do with your life. And so you can write the story. It doesn't have to look like anybody else's story. And so get a new idea about what your life would be like if it was just exactly how you wanted it to go, and then invite spirit in, let go of your expectations, and see what kind of templates or ideas come to you for the next steps in your life. This is an interesting combo. Okay, let's clear now for our Libras. So now we can clear for our Libras. Let's see, what is it that our Libras need to hear for the weekend ahead? Going slow. The High Priestess and the Chariot. I say go slow, but you might be going full steam ahead. This looks like a good weekend to be in partnership and collaboration, in like the slumber party energy. The High Priestess, yes, there's some aloneness to it, so you need to have your own space a little bit, but also this Chariot is about collaboration. And so it's almost like you can't relax into your own space until all of the little things that you're doing with other people are tied up nice and neat. So I would say, Libras, early in the weekend, tie up everything that you're wanting to do with somebody else or requires somebody else, or somebody else requires you. Get all that stuff done early, and then take a little space for yourself. Take a little time out so that you can really unplug and relax from the other energy and just be in your own aura. Okay. Let's clear now for our Scorpios and see what it is our Scorpios need to hear for the weekend ahead. Some practical advice or guidance. Okay, Scorpios with the Devil card and the Moon card reversed. So who else got the Moon card? But was it Leo's? I can't remember. But for Scorpios, it's like there's more coming from this end of October, early November eclipse that will show itself to you. And it's still this uncertain time where there's some things going on behind the scenes in your life that you're not made privy to right now. And it's good. We don't want to always be in the know, right? There needs to be some element of mystery and some element of, that desire to know everything, is not always healthy. So this Devil card also reminds me of our desires, our obsessive thinking, our need to know everything, our need to understand everything, that sense of control that comes from a place where we feel out of control, right? So this would be balancing some of those spaces where you feel really out of control and you want to be in control, and recognizing some of those psychological patterns. The Devil card, we can be obsessing about money, sex. Those are the typical things, like that desire for the other, that desire for, to feel something stable financially. That's what I see a lot of in my practice when I draw the Devil card. But the Devil card backwards is lived, right? A lived experience. And so this can also be a reminder, like, look how far you've come, look how far you've come, Scorpio, on this journey of where you used to be in terms of the things that used to just drive you crazy, or that you were driven by something that really wasn't yourself, that you were driven by the not self, right? And then you go through this period of shattering, this uncomfortable period of unwinding everything that you thought you knew about yourself. And you're going into this mystery side, this mysterious side of the new self, the healthy self, right? The self that has a lot of faith and optimism and clarity, right? So moving away from some of this darker tones and embracing it all in order to move away from it. And then going forward and being okay with the mystery, with not really knowing and being out of control, right? This idea of surrender. Okay, let's clear the deck for our Sagittarius and see what our Sagittarius needs to hear for the weekend ahead. Just some simple advice or guidance, something practical that helps them through this early December foggy period. Okay, we get the World card and the Two of Cups. So some of you Sagittarius that are really wanting to fall in love, be in partnership, this would be a great indicator of that. The World card does very much feel like the 9 numerology frequency of December, where things are coming together, things are starting to make sense. There's a sense of integration and completion, right? And what the Two of Cups are relationships. And so that can feel great, right? It can feel like, oh, I finally, like, it feels like so good right where we are, where I accept all that is, and now I've got some peace about it. But it can also feel a little rough, right? I fully accept that this relationship is totally over, the sense of completion, right? So, and just because it's totally over now doesn't mean that it's totally over later, but there's something going on in your relationships where you're graduating from point A to point B. And so take that with you and see if that makes sense. Okay, let's look at our Capricorns. So just clearing the deck for our Capricorns for the weekend ahead, just looking into early December. What is it that our Capricorns need to hear above all else? Just some practical advice or guidance. Let's see. We've got a Hermit and a 7 of Pentacles. Okay, so for our Capricorns, really just taking some time out, connecting with nature. Maybe you've been under the lights too much, or behind the Zoom camera too much, or there's been too much technology going on. This is about reconnecting with nature. And it's also about this idea of waiting on nature. So being connected to nature, being connected to the cycles of nature, of course, knowing the day that you plant the seed, the fruit comes later, right? This card is about faith and waiting on the elements, waiting on nature, waiting on the divine connection for nurturing and support of your dreams. but it's also like a real, like actually get out into nature, you know, go have a conversation with a tree, go dig a new garden, pile the rocks up in a different way, do something that feels very earthy and outside-y, right? Okay, Capricorn. Let's clear the deck for our Aquarius and just see what it is that our Aquarius friends need to hear for this early December time. Just clearing for our Aquarius friends. Okay. King of Pentacles and Ace of Pentacles. Okay, Aquarius, you are building your empire right now. The astrology does indicate to go slow right now. So let this be a slow build, a slow burn, but it does look like you could just take some time out this weekend, be in your pajamas and do some like business strategy and planning and start to just get some ideas going or start to make some connections. You don't have to be a big, huge mover and shaker this weekend, but the energy for you specifically feels like you're moving into your power, you're building your empire. And so what empire are you building? You know, Jupiter is moving into Aries at the end of this month, and there's going to be this sense of self-importance. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, right? But it's like, what are you building with your life? Your life is you're the leader of your own life, right? So what is it? What empire are you wanting to build, Capricorn? And see if you can spend a little time answering some of those questions. Okay. Let's clear for our, oh my gosh, did I do Aquarius and Capricorn backwards? So sorry. So sorry, everyone. Let's clear the deck for Pisces. All right, we get the moon card reversed again. Let's clear the deck for Pisces. Some follow-up information. Okay. Let's see, we get the world card reversed and the high priestess. Okay, so Pisces, let me just tell you this. You were born under a different star, okay? And you are in a different world sometimes. Sometimes you're in a fantasy world and sometimes you're in the real world. But right now this weekend, I want you to check out and be in the fantasy world and just kind of play pretend and play what ifs. And I used to work for this chiropractor, and he would have these meetings that he would call Disney meetings. And he would just have us dream big, like if we could provide the best possible customer service experience for the client, what would it be? Would we pick them up in a special car? Would it have their name on it? Would they get a massage treatment after the chiropractic care? Like what in our wildest dreams could we make the best possible experience for the client? And so this is the type of dreaming that I want you to do. What are some of your big dreams that maybe you haven't nurtured in a while, Pisces? And just remember those. And this is a great time to just unplug, step out of the material, buying, spending, building, doing, and just kind of get a little bit more dreamy and see what you can conjure up, okay? All right, guys. It is time for our universal card, our universal reading. So this is a reading for everybody. Maybe your reading didn't make sense to you or it didn't resonate yet, and you just want a little extra love from the tarot cards this weekend. What is it that everybody needs to hear the weekend ahead? Just this universal card. The Queen of Cups falls out. All right, and so let's just clear the deck here, making sure that we get spirit involved. Okay. All right. So want to invite everybody, December 19th, I'm teaching an introduction to mediumship at wiseguyscollective.com. And on solstice on the 21st, Celeste and Sarah and I are doing an 2023 predictions workshop. We have slides. We're splitting it up. You're going to hear from all three of us. There will be time to ask your questions, but please join me, Tiffany from Wise Skies, Celeste from Astrology by Celeste, and Sarah from Astro Auntie for our 2023 predictions. So for your universal reading, guys, we get the Queen of Cups with the Nine of Swords reversed. All right. So this is just an invitation to not be on attack, so to stop attacking, to stop defending, to stop explaining, and just to embody grace, to embody love. What would love do? What would grace do? What would the best possible version of myself do in this situation? And to let go of these negative lingering thoughts, you know what I mean? To really just step into what would grace do? What would love do? You know, not about what do I get from this situation, but how do I want to be? And let that being different, that being full of love and grace, fill your cup enough to change the vibration and frequency of everything and everyone else around you that will come to meet you in this place of love and grace and hope. Okay. I hope this has been useful to you. I hope you have a beautiful December. Come hang out with us at wiseguyscollective.com and check out what we're teaching in 2023. The focus is up on the classes page, so you can see the whole map of 2023, exactly how we're taking you through month by month throughout the whole year with your psychic development, your astrology, your human design, and just giving you the right little nuggets to just take yourself in this beautiful cascade of energy throughout the year. So I'm so glad you're here. I know there's a lot of people you could be spending time with. Hope you have a beautiful weekend. And until we can hang out together again, guys, namaste.